This is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and talking about yesterday's shir. When we went over three different brachos that we say at the very beginning of the davening. The first one, Magen Avraham, and we're going to make a switch in the name by using the letters of Yud Ke Vav Ke, but switching them to the letters that came before it. It makes this name Tedhar. Now the next one is that we have by Mechayim Mesim at the beginning of the davening. You're going to come across the name Yud Ke Vav Ke again, and it's menukad this way. It's all vocalized that way. El Timurasa, to its switch, would be the letters that come behind it, which is pronounced, I pronounce it Kozu. Osio Shola Achra. Those are the letters in the back. So then we also talked about this other thing. It says that there's a system called Atbash, where you take the first letter and you switch it to the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Take the second letter, switch it to the second to last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and go back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth, until you have a possibility of completely hiding the original name in something else. Now, all I know about this is that it hides the name. I don't know the purpose of it. My guess is that it minimizes the light. It changes the light. So that's where we were last night. So he said in the very end, I missed this little part here because it was going a little bit long. He said, "V'hine on Nun Yud Gimel." He says, "Shlosha Shemos and Iskarim." So these three words now, which are Tadhar, B'kozu, Umatz, Hein B'gematria Shin. They come to the gematria of 360 imakolel if you add a kolel. The kolel means its root. So, in other words, it came to 359 plus 1 is 360. Now, what do we know about 360? I don't think that he's going to talk about it, but my thought right now is that it's the circumference of a circle or a circumference of a ball. So here we are, we're getting to this concept of this shin. Now, let's go on. Kavonas birchas ritzei v'sim shalom. So now we're coming to the end of the Shemona Esrei. And let's go over here. It's going to be on Num Yud Daled, and let's read what he says. He says, "V'virchus ritzei, the kaven ki milas ritzei, he begematria Elokim de milui heyin." It actually has a gematria of Elokim, the milui heyin. Now, so what is that? Now, the Tiv is going to actually show it to us. So, in other words, Elokim could be spelled in a milui form, as we've seen before, and we're going to see it in a minute, with it called a milui heyin. Now, it turns out, and we're going to explain this a little bit too. Why does it say the milui of heyin? What's that have to do with it? Ki ritzei heim osius tsara. So this is really important because since we understand that this is a time of pain, it has always been a time of pain. V'hu so ve'es tsara hi liyakov umamenda yoshea. So he says that there is a time of pain for Yaakov, umameno yoshea, and for that we need salvation. Shuhu Shem Elokim Dehayin, which is what? It's the name Elokim Dehayin. Now, what does he mean here? What could he possibly mean? It says, but Birchas Ritzei, so we know that we're at the end of the Shemona Esrei now. We get to the words Ritzei. The Kaven Shetevas Ritzei, Ola Begimatria Elokim B'milui Hayin. Now, here's what I want to say. This is a basic Kabbalistic fact that everybody that studies Kabbalah knows. That the name Elokim can be spelled out like this. In other words, the first letter is spelled Aleph, or the Aleph Lamed Fe, because it's an Aleph. The next letter is a Lamed, we spelled it Lamed Mem Dalet. The next letter is a Hey, and there are three different ways you could spell Hey. Hey Yud, Hey Aleph, or Hey Hey. Each one of them has a different gematria. And he says then it finishes out with Yud Vav Dalet, and Mem, which is how that goes. Now, these are different things that we see in different places. This word would say, Hu Osius Tsara, is also the letter of pain. He said, Hu Romas Latsaros Hagalos, and this is really a remez, or a hint, to the pain that we have because we're not in our land, and we can't live free as Jews. Not completely. So the root of pain is this name of Elokim, which is the gematria of 295. So we know Elokim mean contraction, constriction, shortness of mind, pain. This is the kind of the concept of Bein HaMetzrim. Because the name that we're mentioning now is Elokim with the Milui of Hayin. This is where the pain really comes from. So therefore it's called the time between the pains. Because this, from this name Elokim, with the Milui of Hayin. Now what does a Milui do? It means it spreads. So you have a basic inside Elokim, it's a din, and then it starts to spread through these other letters. It branches out, so to speak. It has the same gematria 295 as Sarah. But the fisha yotzim Sarah's gam m'shem adni, and since that these pains come also, there's another name, which is the name of Malchus. Malchus is also called Adni, Aleph Daled Nun Yud. So it's called this also. Shuhu gam came bebechinat Sarah, there's also pain there, because more squeezing takes place in Malchus. We're going to explain this a little bit more. So therefore it's called Bein HaMitzarim, that between the times of pains, B'lashon Rabim in plural. So it means what? I guess he means that from the first name, which is Elokim, the Milui of Hayin, and also the name Adni, which refers to Malchus, the pain that comes from there. Gam Tosif Shem Adni in Ritzeh. So take the name Adni, put it together with the name, which is the Gematria 65, and put it with the not Ritzeh, which is the name Elokim in the Miloi that we said before. V'yu b'Gematria Shin, and it'll come up to the Gematria of 360, which is actually the letter itself, Shin, but spelled in a Milui. So you see all the letters. Mamshech l'sader as Kavanas Birchos Ritzeh. So let's organize, he says, this bracha. Let's go back to Bavad Shem Elokim. Besides, he says, besides the name Elokim, you should take, when you come to say Ritzeh, you should have this idea in mind. Gam Shem Adni, add to it the name Adni. Shem B'schalalu Elokim B'milui Hey, B'Shem Adni Olam Yachdav, to the gematria of Shin. So now it came back to the Shin again, which is this number 360. So then he goes on, ki shnei bate dinim elu. So he says there are 3 houses of judgment. Judgment goes along with the idea of punishment. So the Shem Elokim va'adni. So these two coming together make the gematria of 360. So that is also the gematria of these switched names that we learned in yesterday's shir, or the shir earlier. Shehem Sod Bein HaMitzarim, which is the secret of the time between these boundaries, the boundaries of pain. Shnei Mitzarim, 2 different boundaries. Ha'olne b'gematria Shin. So if you take this boundary, one boundary is called Elokim Dehayin, gematria 295. The other boundary is called Adni. That's the one on the bottom, which is a gematria of 65. Put them together, and they come to the same gematria as these 3 names. Tidchar, Kozu, Umatz. If you add them all up, they come to 360. Now let's see what else he has to say. Shnei Shemos Aniskarim Elokim b'Milui Heva Adni. Hem b'Bechin Shnei Bate Dinim Shemechem Yotzem Asaros. This is where all the pain comes from. So he said, Al Shemam Nikraim Yomim Aluducha Bein HaMitzarim, and this is the reason why they're called the time between the pains. Machmas should be Yomim Alalu, because the reason why is because during these days, Sholte Matzaras Hayotzim Mishnei Bechinut Sarach Alalu, because they're all the pain comes from these 2 aspects of pain, which are called V'zehu Mitzarim. This is also which is the word Mitzrayim. So it just pronounced slightly different. Mitzarim, Lashon Rabim Shal Tsaras, is a multiple pain here. But the kavan the matek is elu shnei hashemos, and our kavanah here is we're looking to find a way to sweeten these 2 names. Al yedei shloshas hashemos harishonos, by taking these 3 letters, these 3 names up above, which are Tidchar, Kozo, and Matz. Is by taking those, let me say Shagam Haim Olin Begematria Shin. So you're taking the three names which are used to switch. They're actually switches, are ciphers, or ways of hiding the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. But what they do is that they change the light that's coming through the Yud Kei Vav Kei into more of a Rachamim. That's what it seems like he wants to say. They have a gematria of 360, Shin. Val Yedei Kach, and through this way, Osius Sarah Yischaplu the Rachamim. They have abilities, so we'll be able to see. Let me see if I can get this back focused again. Ratzei Hashem Elokeinu. So he says the Rachamim, Ratzei Hashem, Ratzei Hashem Elokeinu. Let's see how that goes. So you sweeten those dinim. And how do you do this? Through those three names that we talked about. You'll change it from the concept of tzara to the concept of ritzeh, which is will or desire. Medinim, the rachamim, so you're taking everything from dinimim, which is the pain, and you're taking it into ritzeh, which is acceptability or wanting to be ritzeh, wanting. And they become the bechina of Ratzei Hashem Elokeinu, which is the bracha of Ratzei. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and we're learning Kavanos of the 3 weeks from the Holy Rav.